Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast here in the Astro Room here on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is the first time that we are meeting, welcome. Hi, hello. And as always, if you are not new here and you are returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my loves. So like I said, this is another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast, and this edition is covering the week of June 12th through June 18th, 2023. All right. So let's let the good people over on Twitter know that we are live so that they can come and join us here on YouTube. So as always, I hope that this video, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching the replay, I hope that it finds you well and in excellent spirits. New week, new energies. Focus and keyword is on new because this week we have a new moon going down in the sign of Gemini. So we are getting ready to restart a new lunar cycle. We're ready to get our minds right, and we are just ready for some newness, right? I think it's safe to say that many of us are definitely looking for something new right now. I don't know about you, but the energy lately has been a bit heavy. I know that many people have been sort of traversing heavy and intense waters when it comes to emotions. I feel like a lot of people have been clearing things, getting clear on who they are, where they're going, what they need to be doing, and that can be a little daunting. And thankfully, I feel like this new moon this week is going to give us a breath of fresh air. It's definitely going to allow us to get our minds right and get our minds sort of in alignment with what we really want. It's in Gemini, so of course it has a lot to do with our thoughts, our mindset, the way that we communicate, what we need to learn. So this can be a pretty eye-opening new moon in terms of, let me not say eye-opening. I will say that this new moon is probably going to be an opportunity for you to get really clear on some things and perhaps learn some new things that are going to help you down the road, all right? The other major event that we have this week is that Saturn is going to be going retrograde. Now, Saturn goes retrograde almost every summer, all right, for several months at a time. So it's really nothing new, but it is sort of an energy shift. And with Saturn sort of newly taking up residence in Pisces, this is going to feel a little different than perhaps last year when Saturn went retrograde. So I'll definitely be discussing that. And then we don't really have too much else going on this week. It's kind of a light week in terms of the astrology. I know last week it was jam-packed with stuff, and that probably contributed to some of the intensity that we were feeling. So this week should be sort of a nice little reprieve from that. And we work our way up to the new moon for some new energy and a breath of fresh air. All right. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. So as always, before we really get into it, let's do some housekeeping and some announcements. So if you are joining me here this evening on the live, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate you more than you know. Feel free to say hello in the chat and also hit that like button on your way in. All right. And so far, we've got Ramel, we've got Patricia Jean, and we've got Philip Boone. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. All right. So sit back, maybe get a pen and paper, some drinks, some snacks. I'm about to give you the real deal and all the information that you're going to need for the week ahead. All right. So if you are someone who is interested in your horoscope, but you're not really finding anything on the internet, you may want to consider subscribing to my text service where you will get your horoscope emailed to you weekly every Monday morning. All right. And so if you're interested in that, you're going to text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. All right. And if you're interested, that information will also be in the description box below. All right. And so let's say you are really just getting into this whole astrology thing, right? And you're finding it interesting. You're realizing that it has a lot more to do than just your sun sign or those memes on, Instagram and whatnot. But you're like, this is a lot. I know when I first started studying astrology, I was like, wow, this is a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. And so you may be a bit confused. You may not know what's going on, but maybe you've kind of gotten into astrology, but you're finding it hard to sort of gel all of the information in place and get it to stick. So I've got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology. Mainly the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. So it's an 11-page PDF document that, again, just gives you the quick and dirty summary for all of these things so you can start committing them to memory. Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is definitely a science. And like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So this cheat sheet is basically a way to get you to start studying astrology. It helps you out on your astrological journey. So if you're interested in copying that, the link to that will be in the description box below. All you got to do is drop your email address and you are good to go. All right. And so by way of announcements, I'm really excited because I'm starting something new this month. I actually started this last year, but I wasn't able to continue it. So I'm picking it back up this month. And I'm going to start doing some interview type videos. Well, actually, they're going to be lives, but interview type lives on different subjects with some of my favorite people. Okay. And the first one is going down this Wednesday at 7 p.m. with one of my favorites, Rob Blackstorm. I'm sure if you are familiar with me and him, I usually appear on his channel at least twice a month to talk about the moon cycles. All right. And so on Wednesday, he and I are going to be discussing a hot topic, one of my favorite topics, one of the topics that's really been hitting me over the head lately, and that is twin flames and divine unions. All right. So if you are interested in that, if you have no clue what it is, but you want to know more, if you feel like you're on a twin flame journey and you're lost, which is probably inevitably the truth, tap in on Wednesday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. here on my channel. And Ra and I will be discussing twin flames and divine unions from the divine feminine and divine masculine perspective. All right. So again, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live and when any of my other videos drop. All right. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you should be too. It's a really great topic. All right. So with that being said, let's chat about what we've got going on this week. So like I said, there isn't too much going on this week. We do have a new moon, which is kind of a big deal. We also have Saturn going retrograde. But apart from that, we pretty much have regular stuff, regular astrology stuff that's typically going on. All right. But yeah, so new moon, this new moon is important for one particular reason. And that is because thoughts create things. It's actually our beliefs that create things, but our beliefs begin as thoughts, okay? And with the new moon in Gemini, it's sort of like it wipes the slate clean so that you can start creating or adopting a new mindset so that you can start creating new things in your lives, okay? Like the way I sort of picture this is like you're going to be planting mental seeds. Like you are going to have like this new moon in Gemini is going to provide, imagine like you have a garden, right? And you've got the perfect plot of land right next to your house. And the soil is beautiful, it's clear, it's fertile. It's just waiting for you to drop seeds. And these seeds that you're going to be dropping are going to be all mental seeds. All right. And so one of the things that's going to be really important leading up to this new moon is that you need to definitely examine sort of where you are in terms of the things that you think about and the things that you believe. This is going to be a great week to do some journaling or to just take some quiet time and sit and reflect about, okay, what is it in my life that I want to change? All right. So let's say you are all about the money. You're like, listen, I'm at a point where I need a breakthrough when it comes to money. You're going to want to sit and examine, like, what are your beliefs related to money? Perfect example. Money is really just an energy. I think that as humans, we sort of complicate it and we've put money on this pedestal, and many of us have made it unattainable or have made it so difficult. We feel like it's such an arduous thing to make money, right? That's a belief that we hold. But literally, you could create a new belief in your mind that, I don't have to work hard for money. Like money just always finds me. Those are the type of mental seeds that you would plant at this new moon so that now in your reality, you're starting to see money show up without you having to work overtime or without you having to work extra or maybe not even having to work at all. Right? So this is all about adopting a new mindset, right? And I love this because this is really the beginning stages of manifestation. So I want you to look at it this way. Let's look at the past couple of new moons, right? So we have the new moon in Aries. The new moon in Aries was really all about your desires. So at that time, we were figuring out what it is that we want, right? We weren't putting much thought into how we were going to get it, what we were going to do. We were just trying to figure out what we're fired up about, right? Then with the new moon in Taurus, it's really about what we value. So now we understand what we desire, right? Because we figured that out at the new moon in Aries. Then at the new moon in Taurus, it's really about, okay, so what are my values? What's important to me? Because not all desires are created equally. There are some that you have burning desires. Others you're like, yeah, it'd be nice if I had that. So I feel like in Taurus, we sort of fine-tuned it a little bit and we said, all right, what's important? What do I value? Like I have these two desires. I have money and I have love. Love is like, it's okay. It would be cool to have a partner. But money, I'm like, yo, I need this. I have this burning desire to be a millionaire, right? You figured out which was more important to you, what was more valuable to you. Now with the new moon in Gemini, now we're taking it further. Now we're like, all right, what do I believe about these desires that I value? And what do I think about them? Truth be told, if you're trying to manifest money, but you think money is evil, you think money is hard to get, you think money is unattainable, it's going to be really hard to manifest money in your hand, money in your possession. Like, I think of money as like a friend, right? Money loves being around me. Money always finds me. Money always wants to be involved with me, right? Money's always with me. These are the beliefs that even if I don't believe them in the moment, these are sort of affirmations that I'm telling myself that will form the belief. And that belief then will allow me to manifest money. All right. So whatever it is, and you may want to take a look at where Gemini is in your natal chart. This may be where you want to focus, although it doesn't have to be. You could create thoughts and beliefs on anything, but understand that whatever thoughts and beliefs you create or you adopt are the thoughts and beliefs that are going to be manifested back to you in your reality. So this is going to be the time to really get clear on what it is that you want, what you have a burning desire for, what is important to you, and start creating the mindset to make it happen. That's why I really love the energy of this new moon, because again, it's sort of the beginning stages of manifestation. So it's really going to be a good one. And then, like I mentioned before, we've got Saturn going retrograde. So Saturn has been in Pisces for not too long. I want to say since March. And so Saturn in Pisces is really about, I feel like I'm always sort of relating astrology to manifestation. And I think that's because I'm really tapped into the energy of us being conscious creators and how the cosmos really just reflects. We have the cosmos within us. We have the universe within us, and it gives us the ability to be conscious creators. And so Saturn in Pisces, it's really about structuring your inner world, right? Because you don't react to circumstances. You create the circumstances based on what's going on within you. And with Saturn in Pisces, this allows us to really take a realistic look, perhaps even a sobering look at what's going on in our inner world, right? Because if our inner world is tumultuous, guess what's going to show up in your reality? Chaos, right? If it's nice and orderly and it's sort of, structured, then that's what's going to be reflected back to you in your reality, right? So it's all about getting right within. I guess the long and short of it is Saturn in Pisces is about getting right within and forming your own beliefs. Like, there is this emphasis on beliefs right now because beliefs are really what shape your reality. And with Saturn in Pisces, many of us are really examining what those beliefs are, because many of those beliefs are not ones that are autonomous to us or that we created ourselves. Many of us are running on programs full of beliefs that have been, placed on us or that we've been conditioned by. So I love this Saturn in Pisces transit, which will last approximately like 3 years. So in 2026, Saturn will leave Pisces for good. So between now and then, many of us are going to be thinking about, all right, like why do I believe this? Just the other day, I was having a conversation with somebody and I was remembering something. I was a child I grew up Catholic. And so I went to Catholic school up until college. And I was reminiscing about some of the things that we were taught, some of the things that we had to do. And I'm just like, looking back, I'm like, that low key, like really didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, nor does it sort of resonate with my spirit. And I feel like many of us are coming to those realizations. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily do with religion Although religion is sort of the driving force that forms many of our beliefs. It could be societal beliefs, right? At one point in time, people believed that, Black people weren't equal, women weren't equal, right? And you've seen how those beliefs have morphed and changed. Well, I guess that remains to be seen, but how those beliefs have morphed and changed over the years. That's because we've been able to reassess these beliefs and figure out, do they resonate with us or not? And so I feel like a lot of that goes on with this particular transit. And so with Saturn going retrograde, you can really do the inner work, because anytime a planet is retrograde, that energy is directed inwardly. So this is not just society taking a look at what beliefs aren't working anymore, but this is about you looking within yourself and being like, well, why do I think this? Or why do I act this way? Why is this a part of my daily routine? Maybe because it's a belief that was forced upon you, or maybe a belief that you're conditioned by. And this is a great time, of course, in conjunction with this new moon in Gemini, to figure out what new beliefs you want to adopt in your life, because that is what is going to help you change your life and change your reality. So although we don't have much going on this week, what we do have going on is pretty powerful. Okay, so let's take a look at the highlights and see what we've got. All right, so first up, we've got what I like to call run that back, and that is Saturn retrograde. All right, so apart from just taking a good look and re-examining some of our beliefs, this is also a period of time that is marked by karma. Now, karma doesn't have a moral assignment to it. Karma is literally just cause and effect. So you may find that while Saturn is retrograde, you may be rewarded for past good work that was done. Or maybe if you didn't do the right thing, maybe that may be coming around to sort of, let me not say right thing. Whatever you did in the past, the effect of that action may find you now that Saturn is retrograde. Okay. It's also about life lessons. Saturn is the planet of, I call it the school of hard knocks. Like that's where you really learn things. That's where you build character. And so this may be a time where the universe is sort of getting you to build up the character skills or the character traits that you need to get you where you need to go. So that might be a bit uncomfortable. It might require you to stretch yourself or maybe even limit yourself in a certain way. But this may be a time where life lessons are very prominent in your life. And then finally, it's all about restructuring. And because, again, Saturn is in Pisces, it's about restructuring our beliefs, restructuring our faith, and restructuring our inner world. Okay. Then we've got what I like to call new mindset. And this is that new moon in Gemini that I was talking about before, right? So this is new beginnings. New moons are all about planting new seeds, setting new intentions. So we've got that. It's all about a new mental state. And I think I talked enough about that already. Adopting a new mindset allows you to have new things and create new things in your life. So it's about new communications. This is the perfect time to start talking to new people, to make new friends. If you need to network for any particular reason, you're going to want to start planting those seeds at this new moon in Gemini. And it's also about learning new things, specifically specialized skills. Try saying that 10 times fast. Learning new specialized skills, you're going to want to plant those seeds at this new moon in Gemini. And then finally, we have what I like to call iron sharpens iron. So of the other sort of astrology that we've got going on for the week, we've got quite a few squares. We've got Mercury square Saturn and the Sun square Neptune. So this is all about paying attention. This is about sort of reality and its realness or not. And personal development, right? Iron sharpens iron literally means that it's those hard times, it's those times of adversity, those times that are uncomfortable or perhaps frustrating or tense that help build character. It sounds a lot more dire than it is, but this is a week of character development, all right? So this is what we've got going on for the week in a more granular sort of form, all right? So on Tuesday, we've got the moon moving into Taurus. Then on Thursday, we've got Mercury square Saturn, that first square of the week, and the moon will be moving into Gemini. Then on Saturday, we've got Mercury sextile Venus and Saturn going retrograde. And then finally, we close out the week on Sunday with the Sun square Neptune, that new moon in Gemini. And then later on that evening, the moon will make its way into its home sign of Cancer. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. All right, so on Tuesday, tomorrow, we've got the moon moving into Taurus, and the moon loves being in Taurus. Taurus is the sign of the moon's exaltation. Okay, and I'll explain that in a few. But as you can see in the upper right-hand portion of the chart in that red circle, we've got the moon at 0 degrees Taurus, and it will be conjunct the North Node. All right, so this is going to be fairly important. So Taurus is the sign of the moon's exaltation, and all that means in fancy astrology jargon is that the moon is treated like a queen. Imagine a house party being thrown just for you. There's delicious food, there's great music, there's great wine, and everyone's there to celebrate you. That's what it means when a planet is exalted in a particular sign. And so anytime the moon is in Taurus, it's the time when you just want to chill. Like you really just want to chill. You want to relax. You want to get comfortable. You want to feel luxurious. You want to feel good. You don't want to do anything that takes you out of your comfort zone. Okay. But here's the thing, because the moon is going to be conjunct the North Node is really all about taking you out of your comfort zone. Long story short, and I did a video on this, so if you want to check out that video, it will be listed in the description box below. The North Node is what we strive to go toward in this lifetime. The characteristics of the sign that the North Node is in are typically characteristics that we may not have naturally. It's characteristics that we need to work toward. So essentially, the North Node takes you out of your comfort zone toward a particular goal or purpose in this lifetime. And so while we've got the moon in Taurus that wants to be all comfortable and cozy, like wearing your best, your most comfortable sweats with a bowl of ice cream in bed watching a movie, the North Node really wants you to forge ahead to sort of your purpose and take on those character traits that may be unfamiliar to you right now, but that you're being urged to develop. Okay. Now, the moon is also going to cross paths with Uranus while in Taurus over the next 2 days. So this could contribute to maybe some surprises, some surprise feelings, some emotions that you maybe don't expect. Anytime we're talking about Uranus, it's expect the unexpected. And with Uranus, the North Node, and the moon in Taurus, this is sort of about being jostled is the word I'm hearing. I don't know if that's even a right word. Sort of being jostled out of your comfort zone, but with a purpose. It's not just a surprise for no reason. It's not just unexpected emotions for no reason. This is to trigger you, perhaps, to get you to that sort of North Node, that North Star where you're supposed to be headed in this lifetime. All right. So needless to say, while the moon is in Taurus, like expect the unexpected perhaps over the next 2 days, but also pay attention to what happens. Don't just focus on the fact that you've been pushed out of your comfort zone, trying to figure out why you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. What is this particular situation, this particular exchange, this particular person trying to show you either about yourself or the situation or something else in your life that's pretty important. All right. So pay attention to the things that definitely come up during this moon cycle. Now, because we're making our way to the new moon, the moon is waning right now. So this is all about getting rid of the things that we don't need. So this being moved out of your comfort zone while the moon is in Taurus, this could really be a situation that's alerting you to what is no longer necessary on your path to your North Star, right? And you're going to want to take a look at where Taurus is in your natal chart, because this may give you a clue as to what exactly is going on and what part of your life this is going down in, right? But this is all about, all right, what things do I no longer need? It may even be like a time of cleanup. Like Taurus is all about values. It's also about tangible things. So this may be physical things that may be cluttering your space that you no longer need. This may be values or beliefs that you hold on to, particularly about yourself, right? Because Taurus has a lot to do with our self-worth. Things about yourself that are no longer serving you. Maybe it's beliefs that are not serving you. Maybe you've been trying to manifest something, but how you see yourself or what you believe about yourself is really undermining your ability to manifest that thing. So like I said, leading up to this new moon, you're really going to want to take a look at what your beliefs are and start forming new ideas that can turn into new beliefs so that you can finally have the things that you want. All right. That's pretty much what the moon in Taurus is going to be like. Let's keep it moving. All right, so on Thursday, we've got Mercury square Saturn and the moon moving into Gemini. All right. So you will see Mercury at 7 degrees Gemini. Mercury is currently in its home sign of Gemini. And Saturn is at 7 degrees Pisces. It hasn't yet gone retrograde, so both planets are direct. And then you'll see the moon at 0 degrees Gemini. All right, so let's discuss. First up, let's talk about Mercury square Saturn. So this is one of those transits that really fosters hard work, okay? This is about really paying attention to what you're doing, paying attention to the task at hand, and getting serious and structured about your mental work. Even though this can be a very sobering kind of transit, because when you have Mercury and Saturn together, it can definitely get people down in the dumps. It can definitely get people thinking negatively about themselves or about life or about their situation. So it can be kind of a little bit of a depressing transit. However, take heed to what I said before. Going up to this new moon, it's all about getting rid of what we no longer need. And I feel like if you find that you are triggered under this transit, like let's say you find that midweek you are not thinking the best of yourself, or maybe you're not thinking the best of a situation, I feel like that is going to be the catalyst to get you to start forming new thoughts and new beliefs about that situation. Try your best not to stay down in the dumps, not to just replay old thoughts. If these old thoughts, if these old feelings, or if these old beliefs that no longer serve you come up, you have to it's almost like one of the things that I've learned to do in meditation is to really be an observer. And it's almost like sitting in a movie theater. Whatever thoughts come up, you have to sort of take a step away from them and sort of view them like they're on a movie screen. You're not in the movie, you are watching the movie. So just because these thoughts come up doesn't mean that you have to hold on to them, nor do you have to identify as these thoughts. I want you to remember this as clear as day. You are not your thoughts. Okay, you are not your thoughts. You can observe them. And the fact that they're coming up does not mean that they are gospel. It does not mean that they're even true, because sometimes our thoughts can be very deceptive. And Mercury square Saturn, it can sort of bring up thoughts related to fear, or it can bring up thoughts that are just not in your best interest. So rather than wallowing in them and saying, oh, because or believing them, just observe them. Just look at them. Just be like, okay, look at them and recognize them. Like, even if you have to say to yourself, even out loud, be like, all right, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. Okay, you're scared about this particular thing, or you don't feel good about this particular thing. Why is that? Like, literally talk to yourself. Talk yourself out of falling into the trap of believing your thoughts. Okay, it's work. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is not easy. I mean, if you've been doing it for a while and you've been practicing, sure. But when you first start doing it, not only is it like taxing, it can be emotionally draining too. But this is the process within which we form new beliefs. Because trust and believe, if you are in your 30s and you've had a belief that's been implanted in you since you were a child, you think you're going to get over it like that? You can. I'm not saying that you can't. It's not an impossibility. However, if it took several years for you to believe something, it's going to take a little bit of work for you to unbelieve it, for you to unprogram or deprogram your mind and your subconscious of these thoughts, right? So it's really about overcoming them. Remember, I said before, iron sharpens iron. This is how you get tough. This is how you start building new beliefs, by saying no to the old ones. I feel like that may be how this plays out for most of us. But on a more mundane level, this is about, misunderstandings. So when it comes to communication, you're going to want to be very intentional about what you say. You're sort of going to want to read through things with a fine-tooth comb, because things could be misinterpreted or misunderstood. This is going to be paying attention to the details, like I said before. And if you have to do anything serious, right? Like if you have to sign a contract, if you have to do any serious paperwork or business, definitely rely on the advice of a trusted professional. Because this is one of those things where if you try to do it yourself, it might not be in your best interest, or it might come back to bite you in the ass later. It has this sort of has a Mercury retrograde kind of flavor to it in a way when it comes definitely to paperwork and communications. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. And understand that this transit is just to bring up the things that you need to let go of. So it may have you in a negative mindset. It may have you seeing the worst in every situation or in everything. Understand that that too shall pass. And probably what you're thinking is based on, outdated beliefs, or it's really based on the past, and the past is not the future. This is one thing I really want you to remember with this new moon in Gemini. In setting a new mindset, you don't have to create the future based off the past. You could create a future that looks nothing like the past, but it's all about what you think and what you believe. So again, it's all about planting those mental seeds, right? And then we have the moon moving into Gemini, okay? And so while in Gemini, the moon is actually going to cross over Mercury. So our head and our hearts are sort of going to be either in conflict or in alignment, depending on where you're at in your particular journey, right? But when the moon is in Gemini, we like to think, we like to communicate, and we like to learn, okay? And so there may be new things that you need to learn at this time, different skills, probably in replacement of certain skills that no longer serve you. Think of it this way. Think of it like a computer program, right? And maybe you originally downloaded the program in 2017, but it's now 2023. The details and the coding of that program may be completely different. It may be time for an update. So maybe time to let that 2017 version go and adopt the 2023 version. Now, of course, that's a metaphor for our thoughts, our beliefs, and stuff like that. But I think it rings true. Right? Some of us are running on old programs and it's time for an update. So we've got to trash the old stuff and start working on some new stuff. Start uploading some new programming into our minds. And so that may be, with skills. It's the same thing. If you learned how to work on a particular program in 1994, I can almost guarantee you that those skills may be a little outdated. It may be time for you to learn new skills. Right? I mean, we're currently on Web 3.0, right? Maybe you are, you're familiar with Web 2.0. It's time to kind of put those skills away and adopt some new skills. So I feel like this is also going to be a time where many of us are learning new skills, perhaps in replacement of other skills. Now, whenever the moon is in Gemini, we're naturally curious, and this sort of feeds into what I was saying about learning new things. So if you find that there's something you want to know, right? Especially with this new moon in Gemini, I feel like many of us, our intuition is going to be speaking to us like, hey, maybe we should look into this. Maybe this is going to be helpful to us. Or, wow, I'm really interested in this. Maybe I can use these skills to make more money, or maybe I can use these skills to help more people, right? It's all about learning. And whenever the moon is in Gemini, we tend to be very chatty, very verbose, wanting to communicate with people really talking a lot. Like sometimes you may, with some people, I find that when the moon is in Gemini, and I try to track this, especially people who may be like Gemini suns or even Virgo suns, like, people who are ruled by Mercury. Whenever the moon is in Gemini, that's when people just want to talk your fucking ear off sometimes. Like they'll want to have 6-hour conversations, or they want to really teach you something. Like people tend to be very wordy and verbose when the moon is in Gemini. So you might want to take heed to that. All right. But all in all, that's pretty much what's going on for Thursday, right? So let's keep it moving. So next up, we've got Saturday. So on Saturday, we've got Saturn going retrograde in Pisces, and you will see that at the bottom left-hand portion of the chart. So whenever you're looking at any sort of chart, any astrological chart, whenever you see the numbers in red, it denotes a retrograde planet. All right. So you'll see Saturn in maroon. It's got that red 7 that denotes that it is retrograde. Okay. Then that day, we also have Mercury sextile Venus. So you'll see Mercury at 11 degrees Gemini, sort of at the right hand portion of the chart. Mercury is that purple guy. And then at the upper right hand portion of the chart, you will see Venus at 11 degrees Leo. All right. So Venus just made her way into Leo last week. So she's sort of getting comfortable in there. So that should be a pretty interesting transit. All right, so Saturn is going to be retrograde in Pisces from June 17th through November 4th. So for the duration of summer and into fall, Saturn will be retrograde. And I pretty much discussed what this means before, but just to reiterate, this may be reflecting on important life lessons. This may be karma coming back around, but it's really examining our inner structures, our inner world. What does our inner world look like? How is it structured? And were we the ones to build that structure? Right? Like, again, some of the things that we say that we believe are not necessarily what we believe because they're not our beliefs. And I feel like, again, Saturn retrograde in Pisces is going to have us examining that and seeing if those things make sense. This may be reflecting on your relationship to spirituality, your belief systems, self-discipline, and creative expressions. So apart from just being a sign that is representative of spirituality, Pisces is all about creativity as well. And so this may be, especially if you are a creative person, perhaps you do creative work for a living, or creativity just flows through you naturally. I mean, we're all creative beings, but when I say creativity, I mean like artistic creativity. This may be a time where you sort of get a little more structured with this. And I sort of like Saturn and Pisces for creatives because the creative process can be very nebulous. It can be sort of all over the place, right? You get creative impulses at any time of the day, and sort of structuring that, especially if you're someone who wants to make money from your creativity, structuring that can be kind of challenging, especially if you have a lot of Pisces or maybe even Jupiter energy in your chart. But I feel like Saturn in Pisces gives you the energy of discipline and structure so that you can figure out how to be creative and, business savvy or structural in, whatever you're doing. So it's also really good for that. It's also finding the proper balance between your dreams and your reality. Like I said, we're all creative beings. It's our imaginations, our beliefs, and our thoughts that actually create our 3D reality. However, that's the as above part. There's also a so below part. The as above is the imagination, tapping into the imagination, right? The so below part is the physical work you have to do here in the 3D in order to make those things happen. And when I say work, I don't mean arduous work. I don't mean back-breaking work. But most of the time, there's actions here in the 3D that you'll have to take, right? It's like God sort of meets you where you're at and God meets you halfway. And so it's sort of the same thing with Saturn and Pisces, particularly Saturn retrograde in Pisces. It's like, all right, so what do I have to do? I know that I'm sort of letting go and letting God. I'm using my imagination. I'm using my creative faculties to manifest the things that I want. But what do I have to do now, right? I think that Saturn retrograde is really going to have people focusing on that for the next couple of months, which is a pretty good thing. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Nope. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Then that same day, we've got Mercury sextile Venus. All right. This is a nice transit because it's really about having fun. And with Venus newly in Leo, this is definitely about following your heart, having fun, this very lighthearted and friendly sort of energy. So with this going down on Saturday, it's a great time to go out with friends. It's a great time to go out on a date. It's a great time to really just socialize, express yourself. You may find that expressing how you feel, especially in romantic relationships, or maybe even expressing how you feel in relationships with children, may also be a little bit easier. So it's great for being affectionate. It's great for expressing your love in a way that's lighthearted, fun, and childlike. Definitely nothing that's too serious or intense. So I find that this is a great sort of transit to just sort of let loose, have fun, interact with people, and just have a good time. This transit also bodes well for business because people aren't feeling so serious. So it's great for like finding win-win situations, negotiating, You may be really well with numbers, or you may find that numbers and crunching the numbers, or, doing certain numbers come a little easier with this particular transit. So business is also favored with this too, but it's going down on a Saturday. So you may not be doing business on a Saturday. However, it still is a great transit for having fun, socializing, and just experiencing love and affection. All right. So that is Saturday. Let's keep it moving. All right, so on Sunday, we close out the week with the new moon in Gemini, and you will see both the sun and the moon will be at 26 degrees Gemini. We also have the sun square Neptune. All right, so the sun is at 26 degrees Gemini. It'll move to 27 a little later in the day, where it will exactly square Neptune. And then later on in the day, because the moon is at such a late degree of Gemini, it will traverse into its home sign of Cancer. So the moon will actually be in 2 signs on Sunday. All right. So first up, the new moon in Gemini, which I really sort of went over, but we'll get back into the most important points. So it's going on at 12:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going down at 26 degrees Gemini. Everything Gemini has to do with curiosity, communication, thoughts, learning new things, the duality of life, right? Because Gemini are the twins, and also being social and socializing. Now, the numerology for this particular new moon is very important, and it really feeds into everything that I was saying before. So numerology for this particular new moon is the number 8. 8 has a lot to do with success. It has a lot to do with sort of material abundance. But here's the thing. Inherent in the number 8 is the notion of work. Material abundance under the number 8 comes as a result of hard work. Okay. And so this is exactly what I was talking about. I said thoughts create things. Thoughts and beliefs create things. Reprogramming your mind, creating new beliefs, that's going to be the hard work element of it, will undoubtedly result in the material abundance, which is the manifestation element of it. All right. And it's typically work that is done over a period of time. This isn't one of those get rich quick things or things just happening in the snap of a finger. You see, I can't snap with my right hand. I can only snap with my left. So I don't know what that's about. But in any event, this is putting in the work and then reaping the rewards later on. This isn't sort of a get rich quick thing or things just happening immediately. This is putting your nose to the grindstone and getting to work. And again, this is work that's all being done in the mind. It's challenging in the sense that you are sort of battling old thoughts and old programming, because as you start to input, as you start to upload, as you start to adopt a new belief system, the old belief system is still sort of running. So you've got like your foot in 2 different doors, right? In 2 different rooms. You've got the old program running and the new program that you want to install. So it can be a little challenging in terms of trying to completely eradicate what you no longer need in terms of your thoughts and your beliefs. But that's the work that needs to be done with this particular new moon. There's also this element of gratitude that is inherent in the number 8. Okay. It's balancing achievement with gratitude. Okay. So it's almost like when you have the belief that you're grateful for something, you're given more things to be grateful about. And that's how that trajectory of achievement keeps going. It's like you achieve something, you're grateful for it. Then you get more to be grateful for. Then you keep on doing the work and you get more to be grateful for, right? So there's also inherent in the number 8, this notion, this idea of gratitude. So I say that to say, try not to beat yourself up if you find that this process is a little tricky or it's a little challenging, right? Be grateful for the littlest things, because once you start getting on this trajectory of changing your beliefs, you're going to start to see manifestations come in. Okay. And as you do, be grateful that the things are changing. For instance, let's say you're changing your beliefs surrounding money. And you're starting off slow and you're starting adopting these new thoughts and these new beliefs. And all of a sudden you find $5 on the floor. Rather than being like, oh, it's only $5. Like, who cares? That's $5 you didn't have, and it's $5 you didn't have to work for. Like, be thankful for that, because you never know. Maybe then you'll find $10, or maybe someone will give you a check for $200. Like, you never know. You never know how your manifestation will find you. So be grateful for the littlest things that change. Again, as your thoughts and beliefs change, your reality will change, and be grateful for that. Okay. So I also look at what's called the Sabian symbol for each new moon and full moon. And basically, it gives an archetypal story that helps demonstrate the energy of the particular degree at which the new moon is happening. And so the 26th degree of Gemini is called a young gypsy emerging from the woods gazes at far cities. So basically, it's a desire to achieve something that seems out of reach. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. It is a desire to achieve something that may seem out of reach. If you're familiar with gypsies, they're sort of outcasts from society. They're sort of on the outskirts of cities. They're not necessarily welcomed in polite society, right? So a gypsy gazing into the city is like longing to be there, but maybe not belonging, or feeling like it is out of his or her reach, right? That's how many of us feel about the things that we want, especially if what we want we've been working towards for a while, or if it seems like almost impossible, right? It's like we really desire something, but it seems like it's so far out of reach. And to be honest, it is not. Going with the numerology of this new moon, that 8, remember I said it's like hard work that leads to achievement and success. Keep in mind that this hard work is going to be all mental. This isn't a new moon where you're doing things, okay? Where you're being necessarily extroverted to do things. You may feel like you're guided to learn something new, right? But that's still doing mental work. Try not to force new things. Don't force beliefs. Allow yourself to adopt them. Don't feel like you need to go out and physically do something in order to make this belief form. Maybe the physical thing you need to do is keep repeating these things in your mind over and over and over again. So this is a great moon for affirmations. It's a great moon for subliminal recordings or affirmation recordings. It's a great moon for scripting or journaling. Anything that has to do with your mental abilities, your writing abilities, your listening abilities. Any of those ways to change your thoughts and beliefs are going to be great to begin doing at this new moon in Gemini. So even if you think that what you want is so far out of reach or it's almost impossible, understand that the bridge to that is your mind. It's your mind, plain and simple. And so this is the new moon where you get your mind right. And getting it right, like you are going to see the results of this. This will unfold over time. Look at it this way. If you've been experiencing a lot of the same things, that's because you've been running the same program. And it may not, this manifestation thing may seem like new, like you're doing something new, but you're not. You're just doing it in a new way. You manifest whether you think about it or not, even whether you want to or not, because whatever you're believing, whatever you're thinking is what's showing up in your 3D anyway. So don't think of manifestation as I'm going to do this new thing. No, you're just going to do it in a new way. When you start having new thoughts, when you start having new beliefs, that's when you start having a new reality. And again, this is the perfect backdrop for all of this new moon in Gemini. All right. I always get, my pages always get, okay, here we go. All right. And so that's new moon in Gemini. And so next we've got the Sun square Neptune. And this is sort of, I'm not going to say it's going to throw a monkey wrench in things, but it's going to make things a little more challenging because anytime you have Neptune in the mix, things are not so clear. And if we're talking about our minds, if we're talking about our thoughts, if we're talking about our beliefs, it's almost like your mind may be playing tricks on you, or you may be getting confused, or things may not be what you think they are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why you have to get really clear on what your thoughts are and what your beliefs are, and just keep repeating those things, because things in your reality may be a little wonky. Things may be confusing, or things may even be contradictory to what you are trying to manifest. And that, don't pay attention to that, essentially. Okay. And it also may have you feeling a little emotionally drained. It may have you feeling less than enthusiastic. And I implore you, regardless of how you are feeling, you still need to do what you need to do to get your mind right. Because it's not necessarily your feelings that manifest things, it's your beliefs. And so things can be confusing. You may experience a bit of disappointment. This also may have you feeling perhaps insecure. Maybe you feel apologetic about something, maybe you feel guilty about something. These feelings may sort of get in the way and muddy the waters with whatever you're trying to do up here. Okay. So it's going to feel a little, it may feel a little icky. It may feel like you are swimming or paddling upstream. But I implore you, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, you have to keep your thoughts in alignment with that, regardless of how you feel. Okay. On a more mundane level, this transit lends itself to things like hypochondria. So people may be thinking that they're sick, but they're really not, or sort of making things up about how they feel, physically or whatever. It may not be a good time for medical tests or operations, so you may want to avoid those if you can. And again, anytime Neptune is in the mix, it lends itself to confusion, dishonesty, deception, things like that. So be wary of what people are telling you. Be wary, especially of what you're seeing on the news and on the internet. A lot of this stuff is just to confuse you and get you off track. That's why I said it is so very important. Whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, that your thoughts and your beliefs are in alignment with that. Fuck what's going on with everything else. Fuck what's going on in the news. Fuck what he or she is saying that's making you feel some kind of way. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your thoughts on the prize, basically. And that's all you need to do for Sunday. All right. And then finally, after the moon does this new moon thing in Gemini, that same day the moon is going to be moving into its home sign of Cancer. And so this is going to be like an instinctive need for peace and quiet. So if there's a lot going on, if you're feeling like these conversations you're having with people are too much or anything like that, I feel like the moon in Cancer is going to make you want to retreat. Probably at home, probably alone. You just want to sort of be comfortable, be cozy, maybe spend time with family. Things that bring you comfort on an emotional level is everything that the moon in Cancer is about. Okay. And here's the thing, when the moon moves into Cancer, because we've passed that new moon, it's going to be in the waxing phase. So this is about building momentum. So with everything that may be going on with the Sun square Neptune and things being foggy or deceptive or illusory, right? Getting clear on how you feel or how you want to feel, I feel, is what the moon in Cancer is going to allow you to do. So anything that allows you to take care of your own emotional needs, whether it's via family, whether it's alone or whatever makes you feel comfortable in and of yourself, secure in and of yourself, that's what you're going to want to do when the moon is in Cancer on Sunday evening into Monday. All right. And so that's pretty much how we end the week. Like I said, not a lot going on, but I feel like that new moon in Gemini is going to be a game changer when it comes to getting your mind right so that you can finally get the things that you want and create your reality. Because guess what, right? The reality around us, if you haven't noticed, it is going to shit and it is falling to pieces. And that's for good reason, because it doesn't serve us anymore. But not only that, this is a very special time in history, a very special time in humanity, where we have the ability to create our own belief systems. Okay. This is a time where you don't have to believe what everyone else is. You don't have to go along with what everyone else is going on along with. You can create your own. We are coming online and we are becoming very conscious of the lives that we are living and the lives that we can create. And so you got to be really clear, not only on who you are, where you're going, but what you want. And formulate that mindset, formulate those beliefs around that, and you will be good. You don't have to attach yourself to what everyone else is attaching to, because as we've seen, that hasn't lasted. It's not lasting anymore. It's a new age, it's a new dawn, and it's time for you to have a new mindset and get some new shit in your life, all right? So get your mind right this week, figure out what it is that you want, and start adopting those new thoughts and those new beliefs, all right? So now I'm going to be pulling cards for messages for everyone. As always, I do this by sign, but whatever message resonates with you, resonates with you. Doesn't matter whether it's your sun, your rising, your moon, your Jupiter, doesn't matter. If you feel something with this message, if you relate to it, then take it. All right. So first up, we've got Aries. So let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. All right, Aries, we've got the 9 of Swords. Aries, y'all are really stressed out about something. There is something that's keeping you up at night. You definitely feel like, I'm getting hopelessness or feeling despair. Like you may not know a solution. You may not know how to get out of this situation or how to approach this situation. And Spirit is saying that's because you're too much in your mind. You're not allowing the natural solution that is already within you to come up because your mind is going a mile a minute. So as best you can, drop out of your head space and into your heart space. Allow yourself to just be still. I feel like this week is really calling you to meditate, to drop all of these swords. All of these swords are probably different thoughts that you're thinking, maybe fears, maybe solutions, maybe advice from other people. Like you're being urged to drop all of that right now and really just be still. And the answer will come to you most definitely. But don't think you have to rack your brain in order to find it. All right. Next up, we have Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for this week. All right, Taurus, we've got the Ace of Wands. So y'all are in your creative bags this week. I feel like there is a dream, there is a vision that you are super fired up about, that you're very passionate about, and almost that you would like fight somebody for. Like you would defend this vision to the very end. And I feel like this is the week where you sort of are waving that magic wand and making it happen. Again, with that new moon in Gemini, this is all about your thoughts. And I feel like your thoughts are very much in alignment with what it is that you're trying to have, be, or do, or go. And so you're definitely, I see you definitely using this energy to your advantage in a very positive and advantageous sort of way. So basically, Taurus, this is just saying keep doing what you're doing. There may be a major breakthrough this week in terms of a particular manifestation, like something may happen. You may experience some movement this week, but essentially just keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right track. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for this week. Oh, okay, Gemini. You and Taurus are kind of on the same wavelength. You've got the Magician, which is all about manifestation. So again, I feel like the same exact message for Taurus is the same one for you. It's just the Spirit wants to distinguish one thing. Understand that you have all the tools you need right now. You may be trying to manifest something, but there may be a part of you that's looking outside of yourself in order to manifest. Maybe you want someone else to be doing this work. Maybe you're going to someone for like some spell work, or you're trying to get someone to help you with your manifestation. And Spirit is like, no, you got this all on your own. You've got everything that you could possibly need in order to manifest this thing that you're very passionate about, that you're very desirous of. So just tap into yourself, tap into your natural manifestation abilities, and it will surely come to pass. Okay. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer. All right, Cancer. You've got 2 cards. You've also got the 9 of Swords. and you've got the Knight of Swords. So whereas you may have a similar situation to Aries where you are just in this headspace, like you don't know what to do, you don't know, there's something keeping you up at night, you can't find a solution. I feel like for you, there is going to be someone who's going to offer some advice, offer some knowledge, offer some words of wisdom who can help you get out of this sort of situation. So whereas Aries sort of needs to rely on themselves, you actually get some assistance. Someone is coming in to say something to you, teach you something, point you in the right direction in order to come to a solution with this particular situation. So the message for you, Cancer, is to keep your ears and your eyes open. I feel like this may be a very direct message, so I don't think that you'll miss it. However, if you're sort of down in the dumps and you're really you got your blinders on because you're really just thinking about this problem, you may miss this person. I don't think you will, because it's almost like this person's going to be like a neon sign, or whatever this person or this advice is going to be like a neon sign. However, don't allow yourself to get down in the dumps so much that you can't see the assistance that's right in front of you. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo for this week. All right, Leo, we've got the Two of Pentacles. And what I'm hearing is do not be double-minded. This is a week where you really need to be clear on what it is that you want or what it is that you value. You know, I said this new moon in Gemini is all about like this fertile ground to plant these mental seeds. But if you don't really know what you want and you're not able to sort of hone in on an end goal or something specific, I feel like you're going to get a little bit of both, but not enough to make it worth your while. Like, rather than having these two in opposition, or like trying to figure out what these two things is, you may want to consolidate, is what I'm hearing. There may be a goal that's bigger that may encompass both of these things. So essentially, Leo, you're being told to not be double-minded. Like, either pick one or consolidate the two and make a really big manifestation. But being double-minded is going to get you just a little bit of both. And I can almost guarantee that that's not what you want. All right. All right, next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo for this week. All right, Virgo, we've got Judgment. All right, there's something that is being resurrected for you. I feel like it may have to do with a group of people, but I feel like you may be finding your community. You may be joining some people, but there's this resurgence of energy, this resurrection. If you could tell, these people they're coming up out of coffins. And it's like spirit is blowing the horn and everyone is sort of rising up. So there is a resurgence of something in your life. And I feel like it is being orchestrated by spirit. So at this time, you may not have any idea of what I'm talking about. But I feel like if you tap into spirit, you're going to experience this. It's almost like only through spirit are you going to experience this resurgence. So there may be something that you have been trying to get off the ground. There may be something that you've been trying to resurrect, but because you've been doing it in such a Virgo sort of way, like, oh, let me put in the work, let me do this, let me do that, it hasn't necessarily happened. But when you sort of surrender to spirit, that is how this thing will, resurface or get off the ground. All right. It also is going to require a certain amount of healing. There's some healing that needs to be done also in conjunction with this resurrection. So this is definitely a week where you're going to want to tap into spirit, tap into your highest self, right? This may be your highest self that's calling you, but you haven't necessarily been heeding the call because you've really been in your mind and very much concerned about the 3D, right? Trying to do things yourself. Surrender to spirit, and that's how you're going to experience this resurgence and this resurrection. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we have for Libra for this week. All right, Libra, we've got the Chariot. All right, so things are moving along. Some of you have done a good deal of shadow work, and things are going to start moving along because you have successfully integrated your light side and your shadow side. Understanding yourself in your totality is what is allowing situations to move forward. I also feel like for some, Spirit may be like dragging you a bit and getting you to do some of this shadow work because you've got places to go, you've got people to see, you've got new things to experience. But I feel like this is a week of movement, but movement in the right direction is important. Not movement just for the sake of movement. You'll know you're moving in the right direction if you are integrating your entire self, meaning that you've done some self-reflection. You've realized what your shadow side is. You've realized the totality of you, and it is from that being, that energy, that you are moving forward. That's how you know you're moving in the right direction. But don't mistake any sort of movement for the right movement. So you're going to need to practice a bit of discernment this week in terms of things that may be moving you or urges for you to move. Where are they coming from? Again, you'll know because it's sort of integrating your entire being, and that's how you'll be moving in the right direction. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for this week. All right, Scorpio, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So if you've been watching any of my lives over the last couple of weeks, Scorpio has gotten a very consistent message. Like, y'all have been building something. Y'all have been working at something. Maybe you've been conserving your energy or conserving your coins. But I feel like now the wheels are finally starting to turn. So all of that accumulation, all of that work, you're going to start to see these things start to unfold. Like, I feel like this is going to be a very fortuitous week for you where things start to move in the right direction. Now, if you're a Scorpio that hasn't been doing anything, the movement that you may be seeing may not be necessarily in the direction that you want. However, I get the sense that for Scorpio, y'all have been really putting in some work behind the scenes. Y'all have really been diligent about certain things that you're trying to build. And I think that these things that you're trying to build are things of legacy. I think that they're things of grandeur. I think that these are really big things. And I feel like this is the week where you're going to start to see movement in a very positive direction. So congratulations. I feel like this level of fortune that you're experiencing this week, it's very well deserved and hard earned. Okay. That was Scorpio. So now we are up to Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for this week. All right, Sag, we've got the 8 of Cups. So you guys are walking away from something. Something that was once emotionally fulfilling is no longer emotionally fulfilling, and you're pretty much done. I get the sense that this has to do with a relationship. It could be a relationship that you were grounded in for a while. So it could be a long-term relationship. And by relationship, I don't necessarily mean romantic. It could be a friendship. It could be a business partnership. But something's just not floating your boat anymore. And you're like, you know what? I really got to go. This may be a relationship where money was involved. Any sort of relationship. And I feel like what started out as a good idea or what sounded like a good idea at the start is just not, it's not feeling like you thought it would. It's not panning out how you would have liked it to. And you're just like, you know what? I'm done. And I want you to see how this moon looks, right? It almost looks like the new moon. I feel like this is the new moon where you're going to set new sort of beliefs and thoughts with respect to relationships, particularly relationships where money is involved. So understand that if something is ending this week, if you have the urge to walk away, or even if someone walks away from you, it's ultimately letting you know what beliefs regarding relationships you need to change, or what new beliefs you need to adopt. All right. So take it as information. But yeah, I get the sense that it's you walking away. I don't think anyone's walking away from you, but I feel like you're over it. And so you're going to leave. So on to better things, or at least more emotionally fulfilling things. All right. So that was Sagittarius. So now we are up to Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn for this coming week. All right, Capricorn, we've got the 5 of Pentacles. So some of you are feeling like your money is kind of funny this week. You're feeling like you don't have the resources that you need. You feel like you're left out in the cold. You may even be feeling like physically sick or not feeling your best. And understand that this too shall pass. But there's a certain level of, I'm not going to say work, but there's a certain level of action that you're going to have to take. Because I want you to look at this card. You see how they're sort of walking away from this church? Like they've gotten up and they're trying to get themselves out of this situation. So I feel like this is going to be a week where you sort of assess where you're at, whether it's in terms of money or whether it's in terms of like maybe your physical well-being, and figure out what's not working for you and what you need to do to make the situation better. So apart from just adopting a different mindset, there may be physical actions you need to take. There may be things you need to physically do in order to get out of a particular situation. Okay. So this is going to be a week where you're not just assessing your mindset, but maybe you're assessing your location. Maybe you're assessing your environment. Maybe you're assessing the people around you to see if they're also contributing to having you feeling or being like this. Okay. So it's going to be a week of self-reflection, but you above anyone else can definitely get out of this situation. So I have full faith in you, and you should have faith in yourself that this too shall pass and it will not last forever. Okay. Next up, we've got Aquarius. So let's see what we have for Aquarius for this week. All right, Aquarius, we've got the Six of Wands. You guys are feeling good this week. There's a certain level of recognition you may be receiving this week, a certain amount of accolades. I feel like you're just going to be on your high horse. You may be celebrated this week. You may be, receiving some sort of award or recognition, but I feel like this is a very feel good week for you. This may also be like something that you've wanted is finally here. It could be like as mundane as like something you ordered is finally arriving. It could be something that you've been working towards that's finally sort of coming to fruition. You're starting to see evidence of your desires taking form. So I feel like this is a feel-good week for you where things are just not only feeling good, but you're starting to see things come to fruition in your life. All right. So I know that's definitely a great feeling. All right. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. So let's see what we've got for Pisces for this coming week. All right, Pisces, we've got Temperance. Okay, so I'm getting two things. Number one, Spirit is working on some things behind your, not behind your behalf, on your behalf, but behind the scenes. So there is an alchemizing of a particular situation that's going on, and Spirit is sort of mixing things up. So if you feel like you don't necessarily understand a situation right now, or if like things feel a little unsteady, it's because Spirit is working behind the scenes to alchemize this. Okay. So as Spirit is doing that, Spirit is also saying, like, don't jump to conclusions or don't jump the gun because things are still in flux, because things are still being alchemized. Don't rush to make decisions. Don't rush to make any moves. This is a time to practice moderation. This is a time to definitely think before you speak. Look before you leap and assess what's going on before you make any sort of decisions, especially if they're major decisions or decisions that can have a very long lasting effect on your life. So you're going to want to be moderate. It doesn't matter what's going on right now because things are still in flux. Spirit is like, listen, I'm still working on this. Like, please don't believe what you see. Remember what I said, that Sun square Neptune transit, especially because Neptune is the modern ruler for Pisces. Things are not what they are. Things are not what they seem. So you cannot make a decision based on what you're seeing, because what you're seeing is not what's really going on. And it's definitely not the end result. So take heed and practice moderation. Don't jump to conclusions, and don't make any long-lasting situations before whatever's going on sort of settles down or balances out. All right. All right, my loves. So that concludes this week's edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week. If you would like to know any information about my products or services, all of that stuff is in the description box below. All right, my loves. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best, not just for this week, but for this upcoming new moon. It's going to be a game changer. All right. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys hopefully on Wednesday night at 7 for my discussion about twin flames and divine unions with Rob Blackstorm. All right. So hopefully I will catch you then. If not, have an amazing week. Take care. And I love you guys.